This video is sponsored by DealSource.tech. They've got daily tech deals all over US, UK, and Canada. So if you want to save time and money, check it out. Deals are constantly updated for your convenience, and there's something new to pick from every day. From headphones, TVs, computer parts, it's all here. I'll drop a link down below in the description box. Yo, what's going on, guys? Cultimush back at it with a $700 gaming PC build featuring the GTX 1060. The 1060 has not been officially released as of the recording of this video, but it will be released on July 19th. A lot of you guys have asked me to whip up a build featuring the video card, and at a $700 budget, you can get some sick gaming performance if the 1060 is cracked up to what it's expected to be. Now, I am factoring the 1060 and being a $280 video card. I know the MSRP is $250. If you guys end up finding a 1060 for $250 on release day, more power to you. But I do think this is going to be a graphics card where some retailers are going to mark it up due to a shortage of supply. So I'm just going to factor the GPU in costing $280. With that being said, let's get right into this with the CPU. For the CPU of this build, I decided to go with the Intel Core i5-4460 3.2 GHz quad-core processor. Right now, you can pick this CPU up for around $175, and while this isn't a K-series CPU, so you're not going to be doing any insane overclocking, it's still going to offer very great performance for the price. And when you do look at the K-series i5s, they're about $60 to $70 more expensive, and for that kind of a price, you really can't fit it in a $700 budget. But with the i5-4460, it's still a 3.2 GHz quad-core CPU. It's still going to offer you great performance as long as it's paired with a good GPU, and the 1060 is obviously a pretty good GPU. So I like the i5-4460 a lot. It still gives you pretty good performance while being on a reasonable budget. Moving on to the motherboard, I went with the ASRock H97 Anniversary ATX LG1150 motherboard. This motherboard is only $55, which yes, is very cheap. But really, a motherboard like this is all you need out of a $700 PC. Like I said, you're not going to be doing any insane overclocking, and the H97 Anniversary is still going to give you all the features you need. It's got 4 RAM slots up to DDR3 1600MHz up to 32GB of max memory support. It's got RAID support, no Crossfire or SLI support, but that isn't a big deal since at this budget, that's probably not one of the things you're going to go for. It's got 6 SATA 60bit/second ports and onboard USB 3 headers, so still for the budget price of $55, it's going to give you everything you need, and it's not going to break your wallet in the process. For the RAM, I went with G.Skill RipjawsX series 8GB, 24GB sticks. This is DDR3 RAM running at 1600MHz. This goes for about $30 to $33. Yes, you can go for a 16GB configuration, but that'll put you slightly over the $700 budget. Honestly, you're going to be fine either way. 8GB is still enough for gaming, and in the future, if you do want to go for a 16GB configuration, you can obviously upgrade to that. But right now, 16GB of RAM is so freaking cheap, some of you guys might just want to splurge and get that right away. Whichever route you go, you really can't go wrong. For the hard drive, I went with the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB, just a 1TB hard drive, no SSD in this build. $700 is still on the budget side. If you do want to spend the $40 to $60 and get a 120GB SSD, by all means do that. I'm not a big fan of getting 120GB SSDs because that is so freaking limiting. In the future, I would definitely keep your mind open to picking up an SSD though, but I would recommend getting something like a 240GB SSD so you do have some headroom. However, for now, the Caviar Blue 1TB for $47 is a really good option. I've had several of these drives, and over the last 4 or 5 years, I think only one has failed on me, so I've had really good experiences with this hard drive. And being a mechanical drive, it's still going to give you reasonable speeds given its price and the amount of storage you're getting. Moving on to the video card, obviously you're going to go with the GTX 1060. We'll have to wait until release date to get exact pricing on which models are the best. But yeah, again, just like the GTX 1070 and the GTX 1080, there is a high probability that this is going to be a video card that comes in stock and it goes out of stock very quickly. I think on release day of the 1070, it was out of stock in like a half hour. So if you're interested in the GTX 1060, I would highly recommend bookmarking Newegg, following them on Twitter, bookmarking Amazon, and then just stock them on day of release for the GTX 1060 because they're going to go out of stock very quickly, and you definitely want to get your hands on the video card and you don't want to wait another 2 weeks to a month until they come back in stock. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's talk about what this GPU is going to bring to the table. Nvidia is claiming that the GTX 1060 is going to match the GTX 980 in performance, and being that it is a $250 to $280 GPU, for that kind of price to get that kind of performance, that's absolutely insane. At 1080p, it's going to be a monster of a video card, and being that it is a 6GB GPU, some 1440p gaming might also be pretty decent. I think at 1080p is where this GPU is going to shine. I imagine it's going to be able to max max out even the higher end games at that resolution, get 60 frames per second, and just give you a very premium 1080p PC gaming experience for a very low price. I mean, you just go back to last generation, look at the cost of the GTX 980, or compare this video card to the GTX 960, it seems to be godly in terms of performance to price. Hopefully it does end up delivering, hopefully there's a good amount of stock, because that is the main worry right now, but I expect that the GTX 1060 will be a very hot item come release. Moving on to the power supply, I went with the Rosewill Hive 650 watt 80 plus bronze certified semi-modular power supply for only $60. 650 watts is probably a bit overkill. You'll be able to get away with something like a 550 watt. The Rosewill Hive 650 watt is only $60 on Amazon right now, so I just think that's a really good deal. It's semi-modular, so cable management is going to be easy, but yeah, you can save another $10 or so if you want to get a 550 or even a 500 watt. Finally, for the case, I went with the Corsair 200R ATX mid-tower case. This case is available for only $45. A very good price for a case that will get the job done. It's not amazing aesthetically or anything, but whenever you're paying sub $50 for a case, you're not expecting the world, and the Corsair 200R is going to give you a lot given its price. Again, aesthetically, it's nothing amazing, but at this price point, you really shouldn't care about that. You're just looking to save the most money possible on the case, and for $45, the 200R is an excellent option right now. So that's going to wrap up this video, guys. If you're building a $700 PC, wow, do you have a great PC in line for you with the 1060. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have a request for a future video, you can leave that in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.